Okay, here we go. My uncle, father's younger brother, died in 2009, leaving his two teenage daughters behind. My dad and uncle owned a company together. My brother was named as executor of my uncle's estate and was informed in the trust that my uncle had set up that he was to give my two cousins the trust, which was in a CD, to them when the youngest turned 25, which happened in 2017. Well, my brother was an addict at the time of my uncle's death, unbeknownst to my uncle, and ended up stealing every penny. My brother then continued to lie to my cousins for the next 13 years, giving any number of excuses. 1. He filed for bankruptcy and the money was seized. This never happened. 2. He invested the money in things which were stolen. Obviously, this never happened either. 3. His ex-wife stole the money with a check fraud scam. Also never happened. 4. The money was spent on his many, and also false, medical conditions. For the record, he is ex-military, so all of his medical is handled through the VA at no charge. My cousin finally came to me to ask what was going on since I was still living in that house when my brother stole the money and was in and out of rehab facilities. He also lies about medical conditions he does not have. Anyway, I told her the truth that my brother had stolen the money. My father then calls me and demands that I apologize to him, my mother, and my brother for starting stuff. My parents have been lying for him to my cousins for years, so they are complicit. They then threatened legal action against me. My response to him: if you're mad that I was honest with someone, then that shows more about your character than it does mine. I've not had a lot of contact with these people in the last few years because of situations like this, but now I am completely disowned by them. But it begs the question, am I the a-hole? Edit. I did tell my cousin about the thievery years ago, but my parents and brother convinced them that I was a liar and not to be trusted. I did not have contact with my family, including my cousins, for many years after this. Just want to clear up that I have never lied for him, them, and that I told her the truth from the jump. Not the a-hole. You should also tell your cousins that they should hire a lawyer and see what kind of legal implications there are for stealing an estate. Your family is also ridiculous. You should go no contact with them as well. They're just enabling your brother's horrific behavior. Your parents are going to sue you for what exactly? Telling the truth? Your brother suffered no damages in you saying he stole the money. It's on him to prove those fairy tales he alleged happened. You're not the a-hole. Keep no contact with them. I'm proud of you for recognizing their toxicity and cutting them off. Not the a-hole. Your family did you a favor by disowning you. Now you don't have to worry about them stealing from you too. My husband and I, female 48, had good jobs, so we got the opportunity to save and buy a house when we got married. Then, as my husband loved to fish, we saved money again to buy a house in a lake near our city. We have 2 kids, Theo, male 29, and Lindsay, female 26. We used to have family vacations in the lake house quite often, as it wasn't that far. The lake house was under my husband's name. My husband got sick 5 years ago with a terrible illness. He fought all he could, but he ended up passing away a year after his diagnosis. As a way to be precautious, he passed the properties to me, and also the money he had saved up. We had separate savings accounts. He never told me what to do with the money or anything. He just passed all of it to me with the help of a lawyer. He also wrote a will for some of his beloved items. His grandfather's car, for example. Things that weren't expensive, but had an emotional value. He left some stuff for me, some for our kids, and the rest of his family and friends. After his parting, we started a yearly tradition to go there on his birthday to remember him. Around like 8 or 9 months ago, my son came up to me and asked me what plans did I have for the house. He explained that he wanted to buy a house before his marriage and would love to buy the lake house. I told him I needed to think about it, but then I agreed. My son reminds me of my husband a lot. He loves nature as much as his dad did, and he loves that house too. So I knew that it would be in great hands. We did it all legally, and the house was sold market price range. My son and his fiancée plan to move soon. My daughter came home to visit me the other day. She asked me if we were going to the lake house to celebrate my husband's birthday again this year. I told her that we should ask Theo, but I'm sure that's not going to be a problem for him. She asked me why should we ask him, and I told her that since it's his house now, he gets to decide that kind of stuff. She went crazy when she found out Theo had bought the house. She had the nerve to say that she feels robbed by me because that's her house too, and I didn't ask her. I had to remind her that legally that house is mine, and that I had sold it to her brother, not just some stranger. We ended up having a big argument over this. She said I broke her dad's promise because he told them both that the house would always be theirs to go on vacations. It would never be sold or something like that. I didn't know that, as he never told me. He didn't give me any instructions about the house. At last, I told her to get over it, and she left. She also blocked my number and I can't call her. I think she's overreacting. The house is her brother's home now. It's not like we lost it forever to some stranger. My son and his fiancée will sign a prenup too, so in case of a divorce, he won't lose the house. But also, I understand that she feels heartbroken over that promise that I had no idea of. You're the a-hole. It was in your name, but it was a family house. Your daughter has just as many fond memories there as your son. Why would you not have mentioned it to her after your son said something? I always find it telling when someone keeps something quiet like this. You most likely already knew this was a bad idea. You're the a-hole. The house belongs to you, and you can do whatever you want with it. Legally, you are not the a-hole. It is also a place where both son and daughter spent their childhood vacations, and afterward used it as a father remembrance place with yearly tradition. So I think the fact that you did a whole transaction, transforming a family asset to son's asset without informing the daughter, is not okay. Why does son get the chance to buy the family lake house and not daughter? You're the a-hole. Sure, legally it's yours to do with as you please. But just as a base level of compassion and family loyalty, you're the a-hole. It's not like this was your house that only you're living in, and you decided to downsize to an apartment and were selling anyway. This was property used by the entire family that they all have an emotional investment in and didn't know would be sold to anyone. And even though it's still in the family, this is no longer the family vacation house. It is your son's primary residence. Your daughter is losing out on that opportunity. That at least warranted a conversation. You can't sell a house in a day, so in all those days and weeks it took to arrange loans and paperwork, you didn't once have a conversation with your daughter or think to mention it? This is about more than just the monetary transaction of house seller to house buyer. It's about the fact you didn't respect your daughter enough to mention it to her until it was already done. And even if you still didn't mention it until she brought up the house, it has to be really painful to realize your own mother doesn't respect you and is hiding and withholding family information from you. I, 19 female, have a cousin, Terry, 31 male. Terry has been a heavy smoker since he went to college and has been smoking cigarettes every day for as long as I remember. After work, he'll frequently smoke, eat loads of junk food, and then pass out on his couch. He's also well known in our family for being the Pepsi guy, as he drinks copious amounts of Pepsi every day like it's water. I don't care what he does. I know it's none of my business. His lifestyle eventually caught up with him, and Terry has pretty bad tooth decay and had to have some teeth pulled. Recently, Terry's sister, Sue, 25 female, started a GoFundMe for Terry to get dental implants to replace the teeth that were pulled. It's really expensive, so it's understandable why they do this. The problem is that Sue and Terry have been pestering everyone in the family to donate, and saying things like, just donate $300, it's not that much money, or I guess you just don't care about family. A few days ago, Sue started pestering me about donating to the GoFundMe, and pointed out that I hadn't donated anything. I told her that I can't, as I'm a student and don't have much money as is. Sue wouldn't stop pestering, and started asking invasive questions about how much money I make at my retail job, and how much I spend on groceries. I snapped at her and told her that I shouldn't have to donate, and that Terry needing dental implants is a consequence of his own actions. Sue seemed shocked that I would say that, and told me that I'm an awful person, and that I have no right to judge Terry because I don't know anything, and that he's suffering with addiction. Sue blocked me but has been rampaging to my parents about how I need to learn manners, and that I'm a garbage cousin. Not the a-hole. It's really incredibly tacky to harass people to donate, then to get nosy about your life like that. Not the a-hole. You're 19 years old. People who think a 19-year-old should be donating to a 31-year-old's GoFundMe are ridiculous. Maybe if you have rich parents and family wealth, you could consider giving money. Bunch of BS in my opinion. Let the trash take itself out. Hey OP, I'm a dental tech. Seems nobody else is talking about that side of things. So let me list all the ways you're being taken for a ride. You're not the a-hole before I forget. First off, implants are the premium choice. He can get by just fine with a partial denture or bridges. Implants are $1,000 or $2 each and are usually not covered by insurance. Secondly, if you did donate and he did get implants done, he'd have wasted your money. You cannot smoke to the degree Terry does when you have implants. It eats the bone away that holds the implant in. Shoot, just throw your money in the wind. Third, there's no ducking way any doctor in his right mind would see Terry's oral health and think, yeah, let's put some hardware in there that requires meticulous cleaning. I bet that fella's got a calculus bridge yellower than the yellow brick road. A partial would be your best option because you can pull teeth and add a tooth into the partial as it goes. Implants take at least 8 months to heal before you can even add the chewing component, crown, onto it. And that bad boy won't last under such poor conditions. His body will spit them out because he can't take care of them. A partial is worth maybe $300 or $400 coverage, depending. Most insurances I've seen can accept and help pay for these, even if not Medicaid. Don't donate, and let your family members know they're scamming you folks. He's using your goodwill to finance a premium option not covered by insurance that doesn't even make sense to have. I, 25 male, had been dating my girlfriend, 23 female, for 5 years. Over the years, I bought several pieces of jewelry for her, including a necklace earring set, a promise ring, and a Cartier bracelet. We ended things last month. It still is very fresh in my mind, and I miss her every day. Before she left, she returned these things to me and said it would be weird of her to wear it when she's no longer with me. I told her to keep it, but she returned them anyways. I was mentioning this at a supper the other day at my brother's house. His wife, 39 female, approached me after supper and asked what jewelry she returned. I told her, and she asked me if I wanted the Cartier bracelet off my hands. I could sell it to her. Apparently, she always liked the bracelet, which was customized, and said she can't find it anywhere else. She said she would pay original price for it. I told her frankly that I don't think I'd ever sell it. She looked disappointed. Later on, my brother called me and said that I should still consider selling it. He said I could sell it to him and he would give it to her as an anniversary present. He said, I don't know what else you could do with it other than letting it gather dust. I told him not a chance. He hung up, also annoyed with me. I talked to my sister about this and she said I should consider it, that it makes financial sense and would make my brother and sister-in-law very happy. She said holding on to it would prevent me from getting over my ex. She says I'm being stubborn and callous. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to sell it? No a-holes. You can keep it if you want, but they didn't do anything wrong by asking to buy it. It's true. What are you going to do with it? Let it sit in a drawer and have it remind you of your ex? Not the a-hole. She asked to buy the bracelet, and you said no. There should be no problem there. Calling you stubborn and callous is unreasonable. Having said that, I suggest you do not memorialize your relationship with your ex by hanging on to her jewelry forever. Your sister-in-law is actually offering to do you a favor. They're right in the sense that it doesn't make sense to keep it from a financial perspective. You won't wear it, and you can't really give it to a future girlfriend without always knowing it was meant for someone else. However, if it's fresh and you didn't want to break up, you're not emotionally ready to let go, and they should respect that. I think in time you will be happy to sell it, but you're not there yet. This has been causing so much family drama. I kind of forgot how much my husband's family loves money until we got into this argument. We were at a food truck festival, and there was a conflict with mother-in-law's fiancé, which ended in my waffle pizza getting wet. I know it sounds dumb, but it's the little things in life. Mother-in-law fed her fiancé something off her spoon. My husband made a joke about don't put that in your mouth. She's disgusting and probably diseased. Mother-in-law's fiancé got mad and threw water, which got the waffle pizza wet. I asked him to replace it, and he laughed. I said whatever, but he has to replace it. He started name-calling us both and talking about how we make fun of mother-in-law too much. I said if he is such a hotshot lawyer, he must have $9. He opened his wallet and didn't have much cash, but had his cards, and the place took cards. He tossed $2 bills at me and called me a little bee. Due to this, none of us are on good terms. Yesterday, we were at an engagement party for a relative, and everyone was oohing and eyeing over mother-in-law's stupid Cartier bracelet that he got her for her birthday. Mother-in-law's sister-in-law puppet asked if I liked it. I shrugged and said it is probably fake because the dude doesn't even have $9. Sister-in-laws were laughing, but the older generation got pissed. He called my husband some names and made fun of his job. And now mother-in-law's mom isn't speaking to me. The only non-a-hole here seems to be the waffle pizza. Gone before its time, caught in the crossfire. Edited to add, everyone sucks here, except mother-in-law and waffle pizza. But why? Why did your husband call your mother-in-law diseased? Unless my sense of humor is off, that's not funny. That's what caused this. I don't see either why you had to be so spiteful as to then later on allude to it and say the bracelet is fake. What a negative group of people. You're the a-hole. The water throwing probably wasn't needed, but your husband started it, and you brought it up again after with a super snarky comment. I don't see anything that mother-in-law did wrong. They're probably 100% right about y'all not being nice to her. You're the a-hole, and your husband is too. If you both can't be nice to his mother, don't say anything at all. In your story, your husband clearly started this. You continued it with the completely unnecessary snide comment about the bracelet. I hope it was worth the laugh.